good to have you back. The Holy Gospel according to Luke in the 16th chapter.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Then Jesus said to the disciples, "There was a rich man who had a manager, and charges were brought to him that this man was squandering his property. So he summoned him and said to him, 'What is it that I hear about you? Give me an accounting of your management, because you cannot be my manager any longer.' Then the manager said to himself, 'What will I do now that my master is taking the position away from me? I am not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. I have decided what to do, so that when I am dismissed as manager, people may welcome me in their homes.' So summoning his master's debtors, one by one, he asked the first, 'How much do you owe my master?' He answered, 100 jugs of olive oil.' He said to him, 'Take your bill, sit down quickly and make it 50. Then he asked another, 'And how much do you owe?' He replied, 100 containers of wheat. He said to him, 'Take your bill and make it 80. And his master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the children of this age are more shrewd in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light. And I tell you, make friends for yourselves by means of dishonest wealth, so that when it's gone, they may welcome you into the eternal home. Whoever is faithful in the very little is faithful also in much, and whoever is dishonest in a very little is dishonest also in much. If then you have not been faithful with the dishonest wealth, who will entrust you the true riches? And if you have not been faithful with what belongs to another, who will give you what is your own? No slave can serve two masters, for a slave will either hate the one and love the other, or be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Can you imagine? The hero of today's Gospel is a crook. A sly scumbag who makes a living at the cost of his master, who employed him to be the manager of his estate. Jesus makes a criminal the hero of this parable. And it's even getting stranger. Jesus is using this crook as an example for us. Kind of saying, you should learn from this criminal, because he knows how to launder money properly. And it's difficult to understand, because that hero is the opposite of what Jesus stands for otherwise. He represents all the things Jesus rallied against. He lies, he cheats, he manipulates, he's selfish, dishonest, arrogant, and shameless. And he loves money and his own comfort more than anything else. He has all the qualities of a successful businessman, but he hardly represents what we would associate with the qualities of Christian discipleship. So how can we learn anything from this person? Let's take a bit of a closer look at the parable. The boss this certain wealthy man is surprisingly calm, even lenient and merciful towards his manager. Instead of putting him into prison right away, he gives him time to get his acts together. Kind of like what we say, he gives him time to cook his books, right? However, the manager is just continuing to do what he did before and spends money that doesn't belong to him. He shrewdly uses the short time that is left to him to make sure he won't end up on the street left with nothing. He figures when he's fired, these people will owe him and take him in. This is literally social security, right? So he's going out to his social circle and make sure that they are his security once he does not make any money anymore. He knew that he needed to make friends of some sort who will help him out afterwards. Kind of the way it's like, I'm scratching your back, you're scratching my back. This is how society worked back in the days. It was actually quite an elaborate thing to do. It's like, it was good if other people owed you. And if they owed you, they needed to pay you back in some ways, right? So it was good others had some sort of a debt with you. I'm not sure if it's still the same today. And I sometimes wonder about how that works with donations for political campaigns, right? I scratch your back, you scratch mine. So as manipulative and criminal as his actions are, he is in a way shrewd, clever, street smart in using the resources that are available to him to make provisions for the future. Now, Jesus did not praise the manager for his actions. He did not say, yep, people go. When you work, wherever you work, try to get as much out as you can. Not what Jesus said. Jesus used the manager as an example to use wisely what is given to you. Let's translate it a bit more. What God has given you. We are supposed to be good managers of that. Just like that shrewd manager invested in his future, we are supposed to invest whatever is given to us in what is everlasting, heaven-focused, and not in short-term gains. We are given a great wealth of time, of talent, and yes, treasure. By our Master, our God. And we kind of like to see this as, wait a minute, this is our own, right? We work for it, we managed it in a good way, so this is ours to use and manage as we see fit. But Jesus challenges us to see our treasure as belonging to God. All of it. Nothing kept back. And God put us in charge of this wealth as stewards. And this is what we are. We are what? Stewards, managers of what God has given to us. And as generous and shrewd the manager was, with which was not his own, we are supposed to be just as generous with what is also not our own, what is entrusted to us by God. This is kingdom shrewdness. This is kingdom cleverness. You see, in the kingdom of God, and this is what we are living towards to, the kingdom of God, we don't live for our own gain, but we live to be in mission for others. You see, the kingdom of God works differently than the kingdoms and enterprises we build here on earth. Here we build for our own pleasure and benefit. Here we build to gain power and influence. Here we build to get the most out of it for ourselves. And then we build fences and security systems to keep other hands away. But in the kingdom of God, things are turned upside down. Things work opposite to how things work in this world. What we might think is wise, like making as much money as possible, is actually folly in the kingdom of God. Because wealth and prosperity, as nice as they are, right? They are only temporary. They don't last forever. As we say, the last shirt has no pockets, right? You will have to leave it all at some point. And Jesus said, make friends with your wealth before you die. And what we have learned to be folly is actually wise in the kingdom of God, like giving things away. In the kingdom of God, we gain by giving away freely. We win by losing. We share generously instead of hoarding our possessions and still see how our blessings multiply. We purposefully give up power and influence, and by doing so, we change the world. We give up ourselves in order to find who we really are. This is kingdom shrewdness. The small act of unexpected generosity can make a difference to someone else. A small act of kindness can change the world. Jesus wants us. Jesus wants us to learn this kingdom shrewdness. Jesus wants us to be good managers of the dirty money that is given to us. And no, it's not me saying it's dirty money. It's Jesus saying it's dirty money. The translations are a little bit vague about this, but actually literally translated, when he talks about the money treasure in this, he talks about dirty money. And he's not talking about because people touch it and it's full of viruses and bacteria. Jesus invites us to a very special money laundering scheme that clears the dirty money by giving it away generously. Jesus invites us to be free and to freely share what we own with others. Not counting how much do I have to give, not counting how much will be left for me, but generously giving because, as one of our members says and repeats it once in a while, you cannot outgive God. This is kingdom shrewdness. And I know it sounds like folly, but this kind of folly is the wisdom